What is going on? The catch fam. I hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight. Hope everyone out there is having a fantastic week. Hope you guys have had a great Tuesday. Hope you guys are ready for another live 2024 fantasy football draft. Tonight we are hopping into a best ball mania draft. Super excited to be here with you guys tonight. Super excited to talk some fantasy football and to throw together another team a little bit early. But hey, this tournament is filling up a little bit quicker than the past 2 years, as expected. Every year, going to fill up a little bit quicker. Maybe they'll, you know, add additional spots. Who knows? But nonetheless, it's also a good time to draft because as we get into June and especially July and August, the competition is going to get steeper and steeper, and there's going to be far more people getting in, far more entries as the off season is essentially wrapping up, right? So, and just as that fantasy football feels really in the air in August and such. So, nonetheless, still going to be some good values at this point in the off season when hopping into these underdog drafts. So, encourage you guys to do so, and let's not waste any time. Let's get going. So, if you guys do want to draft with me tonight, just go ahead and hop on into the best ball mania lobby and then just choose 30 seconds per pick and you should get matched with me. We have 7 spots open, so plenty of room for all you guys out there who potentially want to hop in and draft with me or against me, however you would like to look at it. So hope you guys are doing great, and let's have some fun tonight. Last night's draft I think went pretty well. One or two things that didn't go exactly our way, but for the most part went pretty well. So tonight, I think maybe I take some risks. Maybe I go for like an all like kind of upside team, something fun, and we just go from there. Vincent, what's going on, bro? Good to see you. Hope you are doing fantastic. So we should be back with a few mock drafts this weekend for those of you who don't, enter underdog drafts. So don't be worried. We will be running mock drafts throughout the weekend that will be completely free and with the community as well. If you guys are not part of our Discord, that is completely free. Link is down below. Make sure you guys join, and that way you guys can get those invites for the mock drafts that we run here on stream and on the channel. And of course, you guys, as the offseason progresses, can always send out your own mock drafts on the Discord, and they will fill up pretty quickly as well. So, once again, no fantasy news to go over. Nico Collins got extended. I should have put Nico Collins on the thumbnail, but hey, breakout season last season. There's been a guy since he came into the league that everyone is always kind of liked, and finally got paired with the right quarterback, had that breakout season. And man, I mean, Nico's extended. You got Stephon Diggs there. You got Tank Dell going into his sophomore year. That wide receiver room is absolutely loaded. So congrats to Nico Collins, and thank you for giving us some actual off-season news. So, all right, looks like the draft is full. Let's see if doesn't look like any of you guys got in tonight. Oh, J Dubs. J Dubs is drafting right next to me. We're gonna be sniping each other all night long. Let's go. Let's go. That might be a bad thing. Might be a good thing. Who knows? Probably a bad thing. All right, let's see here. So I'm at the 1.7. I'll take that. J-Dub's in the house. What's going on, man? I'm excited. I missed you last night. I was looking for you. So at ADP coming in at 7.1 is Bijan Robinson. Coming in at 7.6 is Brees Hall. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown at 6. Puka at 9.5. So those are kind of weird numbers. But we see CeeDee Lamb, C-Mac, Tyreek Hill off the board. 1.7, 1.8 even the 1.6, 1.9, like kind of all over the place. And really, we've talked about this in some of the mock drafts too. Like, uh, I would say, like from the 1.3 through almost like 2.2, like things are a little bit up and down. So generally, I like to start off in my underdog drafts with the wide receiver position, but last night just went like super heavy at wide receiver. So let's take a running back off the board and let's take Brees Hall here. I'm fine with Bijan right there as well. Really like no difference between the two for me. I guess you could argue like a lot of people going into this coming season at this point in the off season going to be bigger fans of the Falcons offense. I think Captain Kirk at quarterback now. Obviously Drake London. Where this is the season that Kyle Pitts does something right, and then obviously you got Bijan Robinson there as well. So I think they've kind of stole part of the fantasy hype train for the offseason. Um, the Jets, I do kind of feel like are a sleeper offseason hype train too. Like, uh, Aaron Rodgers coming back healthy, right? Should be out there, should theoretically not be injured this year. And, now is this the season we can see an emergence from Garrett Wilson that we were truly expecting last season? Is this, obviously Brees Hall did fine last year, but, so what's to say that he doesn't have an even better season this year, right? So there's already some rumblings in the fantasy community about Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall. So, I really think Brees Hall Bijan Robinson. Kind of go with whoever you like there. Okay, so let's kind of go hero RB tonight with Brees being our guy. Unless Saquon falls out here, because I really like Saquon. But I don't really foresee that, but it's possible. That'd be fun to just go double hero running back. But yeah, I want to go for some upside here. Problem is this next tier wide receiver like kind of lacks upside. Ayuk, Olave, Adams, Collins, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, Diggs, DJ Moore. Like I like all these guys for different reasons, but you know what you're getting with all those wide receivers, right? So let's just in honor of today's signing, let's go Nico Collins. But these guys are all very, very close in tier for me. I think Ayuk still has a bit of a maybe question mark around him at this point in the offseason, but yeah, Mike Evans is fun there. Like, I guess the argument against Nico Collins here would be like, you got Stephon Diggs, you got Tank Dell, you got Dalton Schultz, you got Joe Mixon. It's a loaded offense, but sometimes that's also a good thing. Less defensive pressure on your wide receiver one on paper, or is Diggs a wide receiver one on paper? Who knows? Smokey, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Dynasty order. Waddle, Pickens, Addison, Higgins, JSN. This is tough. I probably still put Waddle first. I think I still believe in Waddle enough, but is it crazy that I feel like it's just so hard to call with Higgins because I think Higgins is more likely to leave the Bengals than Ayuk is likely to leave the Niners. So big question mark around Higgins for me. But Higgins and Waddle have to be kind of 1A, 1B here. Just kind of depends on your own personal feelings. And then I probably personally put Addison next because I just am an Addison guy. And I'd probably go JSN than Pickens, but I feel like that's a little harsh on Pickens. I really think you could make the argument for Pickens over JSN there, but I think JSN is going to be fine. But the rookie season was rough after like such high expectations going into the season, right? I think the argument to flip those two would be like Pickens on paper right now is the wide receiver one, right? And Russ played well with wide receiver one in Denver last year, being Cortland Sutton. Like he's going to throw it up to Pickens quite a bit this year, as long as he's the quarterback and is healthy. And if Fields is out there, well, did fine with DJ Moore last year, right? So then we look at JSN, he is the wide receiver 3 for the Seahawks, whether we like it or not. Maybe he can take over that wide receiver 2 spot from Tyler Lockett. I don't think he's going to take it from Metcalf, but I just, as a long-term prospect, I like JSN better. I see more potential consistent years out of him as opposed to Pickens. I think is going to be kind of one of those boomer bust guys for a while. So, yeah, I think I'd say Waddle, Higgins, 1A, 1B. Can certainly argue those two against each other. Then I go Addison. Then I go JSN, Pickens long term. But if you're kind of in a win now, I think Pickens might make more sense over JSN. So, all right, just give me. See, like I said, I was going to go for upside, but like there just hasn't been a ton of upside present. But I will take DJ Moore right here and be happy about that. So Breece Hall, Nico Collins, DJ Moore to start our draft. Jacobs goes Bijan, Saquon, Michael Pittman. So let's take a look ahead here. So I've got pick 42 and 55. We also want to start correlating potential quarterback stacks as well. And kind of start to think about when we want to draft our next running back as well. And I think I'm going to start drafting tight ends earlier in best ball because I just, for whatever reason, I just never do. So maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll go wide receiver, tight end. And then I have picks 66 and 79. So maybe we'll go running back with those two picks. But last night when we were drafting, like we really saw like the drop off at running back is just really drastic. Like as things progress later in the draft and you're starting to get into those tiers, like the drop off that you'll see at running back after like round 7 or 8, maybe round 9, like it is just it is atrocious. So that's something that we need to be aware of as well. And last night we basically went like 0 running back. We drafted 4 wide receivers in a row. And wow, tight end just starts to get decimated here. And see, I just don't feel crazy about drafting any of these tight ends right now. Like if Kincaid was here, pick 42. I don't know. Let's go wide receiver next. And then let's go from there. Let's just see what happens. Part of me just wants to go Tank Dell here and just get both of those. I mean, 2 out of 3 of the Texans wide receivers. And then, I figured J-Dub's going to pick them was what I was about to say. So do I want to go running back or wide receiver here? Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go running back here. I'm going to go ETN. Oh, of course, he's got the same bye week as Breece Hall. That really hurts us. I mean, it doesn't destroy us, but, All right, and then I think I'm going to actually just kind of see what happens if we kind of hold off at wide receiver a bit tonight. I think that's what I'm going to do because I just never do that. And we were seeing in last night's draft that there was some good value at wide receiver in later rounds, and at other positions there just wasn't. Like we just talked about a running back. So we'll kind of see what happens here. Who's available at pick? What is that? 55. Yeah, we have picks 55 and 66. And maybe I go another running back. Maybe I go wide receiver there. Maybe I go tight end. The tight end I was kind of eyeing there was Kincaid, but those back-to-back Kelsey and Kincaid picks did not help us. I was thinking about going quarterback early, maybe going CJ Stroud. If we had got the Tank Dell pick, then that would obviously, we already have Collins, so going Tank Dell in the 5th round would make just too much sense. But we'll hold off at quarterback a little bit. And maybe as this draft goes on, we'll try and kind of get some late round stacks, wide receiver to two, quarterback, and see what we can cook up there as well. That's not something I've really identified yet in this tournament. All right, so two Chiefs players to end the fourth and take us into the fifth. We got Isaiah Pacheco gone and Patty Mahomes gone. There goes Mark Andrews. And I doubt Christian Kirk is going to fall out to us, but Kirk is definitely the one wide receiver available who I would not pass up with this next pick, but he's a top rated player right now. So I just don't see that happening. So I think I'll go running back with this next pick as Christian Kirk is selected expectedly. And three more picks before we are back on the board. So I think I'll go running back with this next pick. And I'll try to go tight end at pick 66, as long as there's somebody that I'm okay with drafting. And then we're going to hammer out wide receiver and kind of just go with a late round quarterback build and kind of see where that takes us. James Cook, Rachaad White, love both these guys. Okay. In mock drafts, they're being drafted right next to each other. In Underdog, at least in Best Ball Mania, they're being drafted right next to each other. I don't really think you can go wrong here. I just don't. Let's just go Rachaad White. Like, I'm going to have a lot of exposure to both these guys because at this point in the offseason, they're two of my favorite running backs, especially based on ADP. So let's just pick up Rachaad White. You know, originally I was going to go James Cook, but I'm like, let's just go Rachaad White. Really not an argument against either of those guys for me. So, and actually, I'm very happy that I picked Rachaad White because I just looked and James Cook's bye week is week 12. Already had Breece Hall and Travis Etienne both with a bye week at week 12. So let me know in the chat who you guys a bigger fan of as we approach June. Rachaad White or James Cook. Like I said, very, very close ADPs in both Underdog and the PPR mock drafts that we've been running with the community as well. All right, so J-Dubs goes Kyle Pitts. He's got Bijan, Saquon, Pittman, Dell, Pitts. I've got Hall, Nico, DJ Moore, ET, and Rachaad White. Ooh, it feels weird having this many running backs. I usually just don't go with this type of strategy. But I'm embracing it. I don't know. I'm thinking about taking another running back. My next pick, too. Pray, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing fantastic. But at some point, we have to come back to wide receiver. I just want to see, like, what – if we just hold off at wide receiver, like, what names kind of come to us. And then, like, what kind of lower tier wide receivers correlate to lower tier quarterbacks that we can add as well. Give us a challenge. And I really think if I get like just one more solid running back that I feel good about, that I don't know, like we don't really need to draft another running back. We'll maybe take a flyer at the end of the draft. But the other thing is I just kind of in a spot where it makes the most sense to go wide receiver here just based on ADP. I mean, I could kind of quote unquote reach, or I could go Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara here. Like, and I mean, ADP is just, I don't know, like a loose guideline. Like, does it really matter here? Wide receivers available right now are really interesting. I was going to say if Keenan Allen falls, like I'd probably take Keenan Allen here. After all that talk, I'm just going to go wide receiver. I'm going to go Chris Godwin. Not necessarily deviating away from said strategy, but I still want to go mainly with late round wide receivers. But I just think that we have the opportunity to get another running back that I like at pick 79, and then a tight end that I'm okay with as well at pick 90. So I don't know. May have been a mistake. We probably could have just like for sure gotten both guys that we wanted here. But like I said, the other thing I want to start looking at is what kind of late round quarterbacks can we make the connection with to our team? And was kind of keep that in mind. So it's just hard because like I just love just like drafting so heavy at wide receiver. I always feel better when I just go completely in at wide receiver. So right now, Brees Hall, ETN, Rashad White, Nico Collins, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin. 3 and 3. Pretty heavy wide receiver round so far. Ridley, Ladd, Keenan Allen, Xavier Worthy, Chris Godwin, Jordan Addison. We got Kittle was there at the 6.1. Now Kenneth, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, 3 running backs in a row. 2 more picks here in the 6th round before we enter round 7. I do like the value here on Chris Godwin, though. I do kind of feel like Godwin is, I know last year was disappointing. First year, obviously, with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, and everyone just kind of expected Godwin to have, a top 20 finish as he had the previous 2 seasons. And in 2020, even though he was wide receiver 31, he only played in 12 games, and he still like had a pretty solid fantasy season because that was a year that the Bucks and Tom Brady were just great, right? 7 touchdowns. And then in 2019, he was a wide receiver 2, but last season he was a wide receiver 29. But I still think when you look at the stats, over 1,000 receiving yards, 83 receptions, 130 targets, 2 tutties, just really overshadowed by the fact that Mike Evans just absolutely balled out with Baker Mayfield last year. Over 1,200 receiving yards, 13 tutties, 79 receptions, 136 targets. So I don't know. I don't think there's anywhere to go but up for Chris Godwin this season. So where he's going currently in drafts and in mock drafts, I think just a really solid overall value. So I'll keep drafting him as like a wide receiver 3 or 4 and not really look back. All right. So this next pick is tough, but I don't know. I mean, it really just depends. We see 2 wide receivers finish up the 6th round, Brian Thomas and Rome Odunze. Now going to the 7th, we got Rashid Rice gone, Evan Ingram, Monty Zamir White. There goes Burrow. And yeah, I mean, essentially sitting right here, there's a tight end I really like in Jake Ferguson. And you know what? That's who I'm going to draft. I'm going to draft Jake Ferguson. That's who I'm going to take. Okay. I've got a lot of the same bye weeks kind of stacking up on this team, which doesn't necessarily doom you, but like week 7, week 11, and week 12, I might want to kind of avoid as we start to approach the second half of this draft. How many rounds do we have? 20? No, 18. So almost to the second half. But yeah, like I said, I want to get a solid tight end that I believe in, and Jake Ferguson is definitely, as you guys have been following the channel this offseason, definitely a tight end that I believe in these kind of mid-ish later rounds, however you want to look at it. So feel good there. If not, I was going to hold off and go Dalton Schultz, but I'm okay with just getting my guy, quote unquote, and grabbing Jake Ferguson there. So you guys have heard me talk about Jake Ferguson a bit this offseason already, so not going to go too into detail here. But a little bit of variation after that Ferguson pick. Deontay Johnson, a great value for J-Dubs there in the 7th, followed by Ramondre Stevenson. How do you guys feel about Ramondre Stevenson? Because I'm all over the place with Ramondre, to be honest. Then we got Christian Watson, Kyler Murray, and one more pick here to wrap up the 7th, and that is the player that I wanted, DeAndre Swift, who that was kind of my dilemma there, like between Jake Ferguson and DeAndre Swift. Like I just felt as if I didn't take one, the other guy was going to be gone. So I'm going to have a lot of exposure to Swift. So honestly, it's probably a blessing in disguise because, theoretically, you do want to switch up that exposure, right? So I think coming up here, I'm just going to go wide receiver. Jamison Williams, another player that I've been talking about throughout the offseason quite a bit. and he starts off the 8th round. And looking at things, we still only have 3 wide receivers. So, um, I do kind of want to keep an eye on the quarterback position, but we haven't made a tremendous effort so far in this draft looking at who can we draft late at wide receiver that also correlates to those late round quarterbacks. But for now, give me my guy Cortland Sutton off the board as my wide receiver 4. And let's just kind of look here. Late round wide receivers. I mean, Cortland Sutton might be a good example, but I do think you guys can comfortably come out of your draft with Bo Nix. I mean, Bo Nix is being drafted after Justin Fields, after Daniel Jones, before Russell Wilson. That kind of surprises me. I mean, a lot of people just really are not confident that Russell Wilson is going to be the starter the entire season. I mean, I know Fields is there. I mean, Fields is being drafted before Russ, Daniel Jones, and Bo Nix. So that's an interesting tier. Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, what's going to happen there? Those are the next 2 guys. So, I mean, I guess Derek Carr is a good name to look at. But you got to get Olave early. So really, you're looking at Rashid Shaheed late. So J-Dubs went with Deontay Johnson in the 7th, right? And that's a player, I mean, you can get a very, very cheap Bryce Young. Then he goes DeAndre Hopkins in the 8th. You can get a very, very cheap Will Levis as well. But we do want to note there's a lot of added offensive players to that Titans team. All right. So, I don't know what I want to do. I'm going to see who kind of clears out here. As James Conner's off the board to start the 9th round. There goes Curtis Samuel. Dak Prescott is available. And part of me wants to take Caleb Williams just because we have DJ Moore. So let's see what happens here. Maybe we go quarterback. Maybe I take another running back. Maybe I just snatch up another wide receiver. I do feel like Dak Prescott's the best value. 2 teams drafting. One's got J-Lo and Lamar. This team's got Burrow with a chase stack. And then Goat Meat King has no quarterback. So a 1 QB team, a 2 QB team, a 0 QB team. So I don't know if it's going to work out for me. But we will find out momentarily as Khalil Shakir is gone. I like Shakir in the 9th. Curtis Samuel, Tyler Lockett, Shakir, all good values here in the 9th round. Really like James Conner, although the Trey Benson cloud hanging over him is very heavy. Albert, good to see you, bro. How are you doing? What's up? Thank you for joining. All right, I mean, just give me Dak. What was he, the QB3 last year? I know it's a new year, but yeah, QB3. But I'll take the Dak and Jake Ferguson connection here. Part of me, after we drafted DJ Moore, I was really set on drafting Caleb Williams in this draft. I just don't think it's going to happen. So we'll find out. I mean, he's the top projected player. His ADP is 99.9. And we are at pick 102. But you never know. Sometimes quarterback, especially a rookie quarterback, can get pushed back. But let's see, that's going to be 6 more selections that he gets pushed back. Do I really want to go double quarterback, back-to-back rounds? Probably not. So I think I'll go wide receiver or running back with this next pick. What's going on, Pete? Good to see you. Hope you're doing great tonight. We will have you back on stream ASAP. Probably, Friday, right? Good to see you, man. What's up? There goes Caleb Williams to finish the 9th and Purdy to start the 10th. Stober, what's up, man? Good to see you. Go Raiders. I would try to draft one Raiders player just for you. We'll find out. All right, so Romeo Dobbs sitting here, player I don't like the draft. I feel like I'm going to have a lot of exposure to Romeo Dobbs. He's just a good value. I mean, this is a crowded offense, but he was a guy who showed a lot of really good red zone chemistry with Jordan Love last year. But I think I want to go running back here anyways. Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler, getting one of those two as my RB4 behind three running backs that I really like in ETN, Breece Hall, and Rachaad White makes me feel okay. So, yeah, Romeo Dobbs is like really tempting me here, but let's just take Eckler. I like Eckler as RB4. I know not everyone does. But like I said, behind three guys I believe in, I'll take the chance. All right. All right, what is this team so far? All right, we got Dak with Jake Ferguson, Breece Hall, ETN, Rachaad White, Austin Eckler, Nico Collins, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, Cortland Sutton. So a pretty like even team, I would say, head to toe. Or usually by now I have like 7 wide receivers, no tight end, maybe a quarterback, and like 2 running backs. Like I like this start. And now we just want to kind of like keel in on what we're going to do the rest of this draft. That might be important. All right, so we've got picks 127, 138, 151. We'll kind of see how things shake out here. Quite a few names available that I do like. And the main thing I want to look at here is like what late round wide receivers we can add to a good 4 wide receiver room that we've built that I feel comfortable with. You know, who are those later round guys? Because last night we were drafting, it was like there was plenty of late round wide receivers that I felt good about. Romeo Dobbs is still available. This has been, wow, look at this. An all quarterback, running back, sprinkle with Dallas Goedert round so far. So the question is, does a wide receiver get taken here? And yeah, one does. It's Jacoby Myers as we enter the 11th round. I mean, someone's going to draft Romeo Dobbs, right? There's no way he falls to us at 127. No way. So I might take there goes Romeo Dobbs. Good pick. I might take my second tight end at 127 and just call it a day. And the guy I'm looking at heavily here is Dalton Schultz, but we'll see what happens. There's a couple wide receivers that I like available too. Goes Nick Chubb. I think if I go Schultz here, Schultz and Ferguson, I feel pretty good. We can take like a dart throw at a guy at the end of the draft, and I think we'll be set at tight end. So, let's see. All right, so Dobbs, T-Law, Nick Chubb, gone. I just can't do that. I can't draft Nick Chubb, man. I can't do it. There goes Jerry Jeudy. I actually like Jeudy where he's being drafted. I like Gus Edwards where he's being drafted. Moment of truth. Jerome Ford's gone. So that means we're drafting Dalton Schultz. Like I said, there's a handful of wide receivers that I like here as well. But this just kind of shores up the tight end spot. Yeah, Brandon Cooks was like the primary guy I was looking at here because we have Dak, we have Jake Ferguson. Like it makes sense. But I feel good about just locking up the tight end position. You know, we might draft one more and just kind of moving on from there. So let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more picks. Always try to keep count. So we probably want 2 more quarterbacks, 4 more wide receivers and 1 more running back. Yeah, so we can be done at tight end. Okay. And we could either go maybe one quarterback, 1 tight end, or 2 quarterbacks, 1 running back, then the rest wide receivers. Yeah, so it's time to draft a lot of wide receivers, which is always fun too. Like, let's just try and hit on some late round guys. And I'm telling you, like, when you start to look at running back this late in the draft, like, okay, top available guys: Zeke, Charbs, Rico, Marshawn Lloyd, Kendre Miller. Top available wide receivers: Dontavion Wicks, Jahan Dotson, Gabe Davis, Josh Downs, Xavier Leggett. Like, I feel better about the late round wide receivers available as opposed to late round running backs at this point in the draft. Shopkey, good to see you, bro. What's up? What's up? Hope you're doing fantastic. Yeah, Vital's a name that's popping up. I just think there's, there's just a lot of kind of rookie dart throws going on right now. And I'm not really I'm not completely sold on anyone personally. But he's definitely a name that's popping up. And maybe I like Gus Edwards too much for the Chargers. I don't know. All right, there goes Zeke. J-Dub's on the clock here. And I'm going to go Jahan Dotson here. I'm happy with that pick, actually. Harbaugh will gravitate to the rookies. This could be true. This could be true. The Chargers are a really weird team for me right now. I just don't know how I really feel about any Chargers player, except I like Ladd. But I'm not even super ecstatic about Ladd and redraft. But best ball, I'm probably fine. But where did he go tonight? He's not. There's no way he's available. I'm probably staring right at him. Oh my gosh. This is somebody call it. Oh, 6.3. So in between Calvin Ridley and Keenan Allen. Before Chris Godwin, Jordan Addison, even before Xavier Worthy and Roma Dunze, Rasheed Rice, Deontay Johnson, Christian Watson. Yeah. You're just paying a premium price for him. Which might be okay, but I just don't know if I'm willing to. Dynasty, though. Love him. Love him. All right, into the 13th round we go. There's our boy Luke Musgrave off the board. But we don't need him tonight. We needed him last night. Did not get him. Okay, I think I know what I'm doing with these next 2 picks. But who knows? Who knows? Yeah, a lot of rookie wide receivers available, though. I kind of feel okay about Gabe Davis, who just got selected. Which is weird because I really didn't like Gabe Davis last year. Now he's on Jacksonville, and I, for some reason, feel better. I don't know. Where is your guys' Gabe Davis meter at this point in the offseason? Is the real question. All right, time to take some dart throws. Let's do it. Or maybe let's draft a quarterback. Oh, these wide receivers are gross. I thought last night I liked late round wide receivers. Maybe it was just the last couple rounds. Okay, this might be a reach, but I'm literally just drafting Baker Mayfield because I want this stack with Chris Godwin. I want to come out of this draft with 2 stacks. So we got Prescott and Ferguson. And now we have Baker and not just Chris Godwin, but Rashad White as well. So if I wanted to draft another tight end, we could target Cade Otton, but I was really high on Cade Otton last year and relatively disappointed. 67 targets, 47 receptions, 455 receiving yards, and 4 tutties. Just wasn't a major part of that offense. So, yeah, and then I don't know, I had a feeling some quarterbacks were going to start going here. I don't want to miss. It's a big stack right there, baby. Got to have Baker to bring some danger to the squad for sure. All right, so I think I'm going to go wide receiver with this next pick. I'm kind of sad. I probably could have gone Troy Franklin over Dotson and then drafted Marvin Mims at pick 162 and then drafted Bo Nix super late. And then we'd have Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, and Marvin Mims. And we'd be like a Broncos powerhouse over here. All kinds of stacks. Jacksonville rough. I think it's hard to say who will win the targets. Yeah. I don't really know why I feel good about Gabe Davis. No explanation there. But I think the targets will all go to Kirk and Ingram for the most part. I just think it could work for some reason. Too Rich and Bree TV, what's going on? Would you rather have Rome and Bryce, 2025 second, or AR-15 or Rome in 2025 1.1? I feel like I'm overpaying, so may not try to get AR-15. Okay. Hold on. I just want to make sure I'm reading this right. Rome and Bryce Young, a 2025 second, or Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson or Rome in a 2025 1.1. Yeah. I would probably keep the 1.1 in Rome for sure. And I like Anthony Richardson, but the volatility's there. Injury risk is there. So I don't want to trade away the 1.1 and Rome Odunze. Let me make this draft pick very quickly. And ew. This is awful. Why did I wait so long? Oh, I'm just gonna auto pick Adam Thielen. Whatever. That was the worst thing that's ever happened in my entire life. Rome Odunze and Bryce in a 2025 second. I mean, this I actually, if it's super flex, I think this one makes more sense. It just kind of depends on your long-term feel on Bryce Young. I do think Bryce Young is going to improve. It can't really get much worse. He's got more weapons now. No. Obviously, their head coach revitalized Baker Mayfield last year, who I just drafted. So it just depends. I think if you don't, if you believe long-term much more in Anthony Richardson than Bryce Young, which try not to go too much off of recency bias, in terms of the fantasy community, people are going to point to Anthony Richardson, even though he only played 4 games last year and missed time in 2 of those games. But people are still going to point to him in fantasy. Can he stay healthy? Yeah, he played in 4 games, really 3 and a 3.25. 3.2 games. Got hurt in week 5, didn't play in week 3. And listen, it really just depends, but just don't undersell the fact that you're trading away Rome Odunze as well. I don't really if you're trading for a quarterback in Superflex, a second round pick, I don't think it hurts you too badly. The question is what price did you pay for Bryce Young? that it's just so much changes year to year, right? You really have to look at what you went out and the draft capital that you just spent on Bryce Young, and then the fact that you're giving away Roma Dunze, who in a superflex league is going at like anywhere from the 1.4 to the 1.6. It just kind of depends. Like, did Drake May get drafted? Did Brock Bowers get drafted? Did the Dunze go before both those guys? It just kind of depends. But I think the first one is an argument for sure, but I think you can still make the argument that you deserve some sort of draft pick back on that as well. Man, I am just, when I say I absolutely hate the end of this draft, like I absolutely hate it. I'm drafting Rashad Bateman. Let's go. All right, I feel like I'm overpaying, so may not try to get AR-15. Yeah, let's take a look here. I have Hurts, White, Henry, Cup, Scary Terry, Kincaid, Rome, Samir White, Bryce, Fields, Pollard, Otten, Hollywood. It's some other good teams since Guy sold his team. One guy has Love. There's some other good teams. Is it a super flex league? Is Bryce your super flex option? I mean, I think if you do that first trade, you just want to get draft compensation back too. I think I should just sit on my hands, need more wide receiver to compete. Yeah, and I mean that's the thing in general, like in super flex, quarterback's always going to be the most valuable position, but wide receiver to me is always the next most valuable position in Dynasty Superflex because wide receivers, for the most part, have a long shelf life. And like in a lot of Dynasty leagues, you're starting 3 wide receivers and you have 2 flex spots, So like there's just so much value and everything's PPR now. So just don't underestimate Roma Dunze, who, like I just said, is a top 6 selection in rookie drafts this year, and in some rookie drafts like 1.4. So, I just think you should be able to get some sort of draft compensation if you're sitting in the second. Roma Dunze and Bryce Young, who last year was top 3 selection in rookie drafts, right? So, yeah, this is Best Ball Mania. But yeah, you're definitely in win now mode, I would say. Hurts, White, Henry, Cup, Terry, Kincaid, Rashee Rice. And that's the thing with you having Rashee Rice, you probably want Roma Dunze around, even though you have Hollywood. But you're in like full win now territory. So that would be the argument to trade, I guess, Bryce Young away for Anthony Richardson. But I feel like Roma Dunze is a player that helps his team as well. All right. Thank you for the questions, though. I need to draft a running back and probably 2 wide receivers, maybe another QB. Do you think Dak and Baker can carry me? Maybe. I'm going to draft DeMarcus Robinson. Also trying to trade a different guy on my first and Rice for A.J. Brown. I mean, that's tough. It's just Rashee Rice has a cloud over him now with the suspension looming. Might not even happen this year, but it doesn't matter. There's a cloud looming over him. And, I mean, A.J. Brown was on like historic pace at a point last season. So he's just a tough dynasty asset to trade for. But yeah, I mean, I think if you were coming like fresh out of the Super Bowl with the season Rashee Rice had, him being tied to Patrick Mahomes' hip, Super Bowl champs, if you're closer to that point in the offseason, I think you could probably get this trade done potentially. But A.J. Brown's also just one of those players. Like there are certain players that like in dynasty, like most people just aren't going to trade. Like I have a lot of exposure to Amon-Ra St. Brown. and I get offers for him all the time, and it's just like, sorry if this is triggering for any of you guys in the dynasty leagues with me, but it's like I'm not going to trade Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, you'd have to just completely overpay. Like, it'd have to be a stupid offer. You know what I mean? And there are even guys like Brandon Ayuk I have a lot of exposure to, Chris Olave, and like they're not in that same tier as like AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, but like still like those are just pieces that make sense on a dynasty roster that you're just not going to trade away. But with you having Jalen Hurts, going aggressive for AJ Brown makes sense for sure. Need a cheaper draft on Underdog. I did a Best Ball Mania earlier and it was horrid. Yeah, the later rounds good. They do get a little tough out here. That's for sure. That's for sure. But yeah, just 3 picks left. Nice draft. Flew by. This team kind of fell apart. I'm not going to lie. But I actually like it at the same time. Sometimes it's just nice to sit back and just let a team kind of just be what it's going to be. They're like, no, I swear, J-Dubs, don't ruin this. I'm going to draft Bo Nix tonight. Don't draft Bo Nix, J-Dubs, if you're listening, okay? I need him. I need the Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton stack, okay? And this is just the right type of team for Odell Beckham, because this team makes no sense. So Dak Prescott with Jake Ferguson, we have a stack. Baker Mayfield with Rachaad White and Chris Godwin. I think this team's not awful. Breece Hall, Travis Etienne, Rachaad White, Austin Eckler. Nico Collins, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, Cortland Sutton, Jahan Dotson, Adam Thielen, Rashad Bateman, Demarcus Robinson, Odell Beckham. So, I mean, there's opportunity with these wide receivers. I mean, the first, Collins through Dotson, I don't mind. It's the next guys where you get some question marks. I do like Demarcus Robinson at his value, though. I like our tight end room. Running back, they're just, I see part of me is contemplating going running back with this last pick because we have Breece Hall and Etienne on the same bye week. So we'll see. The other option is I draft Bo Nix. Let's see. I think best bet is wait on quarterback. Go wide receiver early. I got stuck with Hall and JT at 1.8. Yeah, so we went kind of hero running back tonight. Last night we went really aggressive at wide receiver. Started with 4 wide receivers. So, see, and that's the thing is like I could go with another running back here, but gosh. I think the best option, and like we talked about this last night, is one of the Eagles running backs, whether it's Will Shipley or Kenneth Gainwell. Maybe there's an argument for Evan Hull here for the Colts. Like we're in with those situations, God forbid, but we're just hoping for a Saquon Barkley or Jonathan Taylor injury. So I don't really like that. We've got some of the Raiders. You got Alexander Madison, Dylan Loeb. I don't know how to say his name. You got some of the Giants running backs. Actually, just Eric Gray is available. It's really ugly. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'd rather just draft a potential stack, or honestly, I'd rather just draft DJ Chark or Tyler Boyd or like another wide receiver here. So Bo Nix is the next. That's right. He's like not even the starter. I was going to draft Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell was my most drafted running back on Underdog last year, so tradition follows. All right, what did you do tonight, J-Dubs? You're projected about the same amount of points as me. No, a little bit more. But you have 3 quarterbacks. I have 2. Kirk Cousins, Will Levis, Daniel Jones. So late round QB build for sure. Kyle Pitts and Hunter Henry at tight end. So you get the stack with Cousins. Bijan. So you got some Falcons exposure. You also went 4 running backs. And 2 of them also have the same bye week, just like me. Let's go. Bijan, Saquon, Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson, your 4th running back, also a Washington Commanders running back. So I like the parallels here. Michael Pittman, Tank Dell, Xavier Worthy, Deontay Johnson. I like that start. Hopkins, Cooks, Mooney, McCaffrey. So you also got Mooney on this team. Nice. Randall Robinson, then Hunter Henry. So you got Daniel Jones with Randall Robinson is interesting too. Maybe that's a nice little potential late round stack. But yeah, this team looks fine. I worry about Hunter Henry doing anything this year because I was like super high on him last year. Or no, the year before. And I've never recovered from the pain that he made me suffer. So other than that, I do like this team. So week 17, always a strat. Giants versus the Colts. Washington versus Atlanta. Okay, I like it. I like it. Yeah, I barely even looked at the schedule, but that might be a smart idea to do. But yeah, team looks good to me, man. So yeah, here's my final squad for you guys. Prescott and Baker. Just a 2 quarterback build tonight. Oh, Eagles versus Dallas also. Now, you know that's going to be a good game with playoff implications and points. Brees Hall, ETN, Rashad White, Austin Eckler, Kenneth Gainwell. Nico, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, Cortland Sutton, Jahan Dodson, Adam Thielen, Rashad Bateman, Demarcus Robinson, Odell, Jake Ferguson, and Dalton Schultz. So we've seen better, we've seen worse for sure. But nonetheless, another fun draft in the books and another entry down. So my plan is to just keep rolling these out for you guys as often as I can, get as many entries in as possible, and then on good drafting to you as well, J-Dubs as always. On the weekends, me and Pete will hop on and do our mock drafts, and we've been trying to get out some short form content for you guys, and we have some plans in the works to get out some regular content outside of the streams for you guys as well. So we're moving right into the summertime with plenty of resources for you guys coming up. And there's Pete in the chat. What's up, bro? And yeah. So we're just excited. It's officially the 29th of May. And it's just about that time of year where things start to heat up. But really, till we hit like mid-July and then we get into August, it's just for the fantasy faithful out here. But to us, this is nothing new. So, but yeah, lots of content coming your guys' way, lots of streams coming your guys' way. And I'm just excited to be here with you guys and hop into another great off season. And the regular season will be here before you know it. So thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you guys for drafting with me. And I will talk to you guys soon. With that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch. And peace.